Today we're going to be talking about least common multiple. The least common multiple is the smallest whole number that is a multiple of both given numbers. So let's say we have the numbers 2 and 3. What's the least common multiple? It would be a number that is both divisible by 2 and 3. And so what we can do is we can multiply the two numbers together. 2 times 3, and we get 6. And if you notice, 6 is divisible by 2, and 6 is also divisible by 3. So it checks out for both of these. So 6 is the least common multiple. Now you could say 12 is also a multiple of 2, and 12 is a multiple of 3, because it checks out for both of these as well. However, 12 is not the smallest number because we already found 6, and 6 is a smaller number that works for both cases. So the least common multiple is going to be the smallest number that is divisible by both of the numbers you're given. In this case, it's 2 and 3. The reason this is important is because later on when we add fractions, you will learn that you cannot add fractions if their denominators are different. And so in order to add fractions, you need to make sure the denominators are the same. So in this case, the 2 would have to be converted into a 4 before you can add the fractions together. And the last thing to note is that if you're given one number, let's say 4, and another number like 8, and if the first number is a multiple of 8, 4 is a multiple of 8, then the least common multiple will be the larger number. So if we're given the numbers 4 and 8, then our least common multiple will be equal to 8. Because 8 is divisible by 8, and 8 is also divisible by 4. So it checks out for both of these as well. Now, here are some practice problems. I'm going to walk you through them and show you how you can find the least common multiple. For our first question, we need to find the least common multiple of 8 and 9. An easy way to do this is by listing the multiples for each number. So I'll show you how this works. So I'm going to put 8 and 9 right next to each other. And let's list the multiples now. And so you'll notice that in both cases, they share the number 72. If you look down the numbers, there's no other numbers they share. And so that's how you would know that 72 is going to be your least common multiple. Now, what you might notice is that 72 is actually just 8 times 9. And so one way you can find a multiple is simply by multiplying these two numbers together, 8 and 9. However, this is not always going to be equal to the least common multiple. And in example 3, I'll show you why this is the case. So the next problem would be 5 and 10. What's the least common multiple of this? Well, we know 5 is a multiple of 10 because 5 goes into 10 twice. And so according to our rule, if one of the numbers is a multiple of the other, since 5 is a multiple of 10, then the least common multiple will simply be the larger number, which is 10 here. So the least common multiple will be 10. And of course we can verify this by saying 10 divided by 10 or 10 divided by 5. And surely enough, these both divide. So we know that 10 is our answer. Now here's the last problem. We have 6 and 8. What's the multiple of this? Like in the first problem, we could simply say, oh, well, one of the multiples is going to be 6 times 8, and this is 48. So this is the least common multiple, right? Well, that's not actually the case. If you list the multiples out, lo and behold, we already have a match, 24 and 24. And so the least common multiple for this would be 24. It's not 48.